Why Iraqi women are turning heads around the world. You have heard the stereotypes. You have seen the headlines. But what if everything you thought you knew about Iraq was completely wrong? While the world looks away, something extraordinary is happening in this ancient land. Iraqi women are redefining beauty standards across the Middle East and beyond, combining timeless elegance with modern sophistication in ways that leave visitors speechless. Their striking features, deep cultural pride, and unexpected openness are challenging every preconception. But their beauty is just the beginning of what makes this country absolutely unforgettable. Iraq sits at the crossroads of civilizations, and you can see it in every face, every building, every sunset over the desert. This is not just another Middle Eastern country. This is the place where human civilization began, where writing was invented, where the first cities rose from the dust. Today, it remains one of the most misunderstood nations on Earth, hiding secrets that will blow your mind. The geography that changed human history. Picture this: two massive rivers cutting through an endless desert, creating a ribbon of green life in one of the harshest climates on the planet. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers have sustained life here for over 7,000 years, and they still flow through the heart of modern Iraq today. These are not just rivers. They are the reason civilization exists. Between these waters, the ancient Mesopotamians built the first cities, created the first laws, and invented the wheel. Stand on their banks today and you are literally standing where human progress began. The landscape here will shock you. Most people imagine Iraq as nothing but sand and war zones. The reality could not be more different. In the north, the Kurdistan region explodes with green mountains, waterfalls, and valleys that look like they belong in Switzerland. The Zagros Mountains create a natural fortress along the border, with peaks reaching over 11,000 feet. In spring, these mountains burst into bloom with wildflowers that carpet the hillsides in impossible colors. Travel south and you enter a different world entirely. The Mesopotamian marshlands, once drained and destroyed, have been restored to their former glory. These wetlands are unlike anything else on Earth, a labyrinth of water channels and floating reed houses where the marsh Arabs have lived for millennia. Imagine gliding through narrow waterways in a traditional moss-hoof boat, surrounded by papyrus reeds that tower overhead, watching buffalo wade through the shallows while kingfishers dart across the water. This is Iraq that nobody talks about. The western deserts stretch toward Syria and Jordan, vast and seemingly empty. But even here, life persists. Bedouin tribes still follow ancient routes between oases, and the desert itself shifts from golden sand to dramatic rock formations that glow red at sunset. The landscape constantly surprises you, shifting from lush river valleys to harsh deserts to snow-capped mountains within a few hundred miles. Borders with 7 nations and what that means. Iraq shares borders with 6 countries, each one adding another layer to its complex identity. To the north lies Turkey, a relationship that brings Kurdish complexity and mountain trade routes. Iran dominates the eastern border, over 900 miles of shared history, religious sites, and complicated politics. This border region sees millions of pilgrims every year, traveling between Shia holy sites. The southern border with Kuwait is short but historically explosive, while Saudi Arabia stretches along the southwestern edge, connecting Iraq to the heart of the Arab world. Jordan provides a western gateway to the Levant, and Syria, despite its current troubles, remains a cultural cousin sharing everything from food to dialect. This geographic position makes Iraq the ultimate crossroads, but it also makes it strategically vital. Every empire that ever mattered wanted to control this territory, from the Persians to the Greeks, from the Mongols to the Ottomans, from the British to the Americans. Being surrounded by so many neighbors means Iraqi culture absorbed influences from everywhere. You taste it in the food, hear it in the music, see it in the architecture. This is not a country that developed in isolation. This is the meeting point of Arab, Persian, Kurdish, Turkmen, Assyrian, and Yazidi cultures, all mixing together in ways that create something unique. Cities that will rewrite your understanding of civilization. Baghdad is not what you expect. Yes, it has seen conflict. Yes, it has suffered. But this city of over 7 million people pulses with energy that defies its reputation. The Tigris splits Baghdad down the middle, and along its banks, life continues with surprising normalcy. Cafes overflow with young people smoking shisha and debating politics. Street vendors sell fresh maskauf, the national dish of grilled carp that will ruin all other fish for you forever. Markets burst with fruits you have never heard of, spices that smell like history, and gold jewelry that Iraqi women wear with casual extravagance. But here is what nobody tells you. Baghdad women walk these streets with a confidence that contradicts every Western assumption. Modern Iraqi women balance tradition and modernity in ways that would surprise most outsiders. You see women in full hijab walking alongside women in jeans and designer sunglasses. You see female doctors, engineers, and business owners navigating a society that is far more complex than simple stereotypes allow. Their beauty is undeniable, but their strength and intelligence are what leave the deepest impression. Basra in the south calls itself the Venice of the Middle East, though that feels both accurate and inadequate. The city sits on the Shat al-Arab waterway, where the Tigris and Euphrates finally merge before emptying into the Persian Gulf. Waterways crisscross the city, and the architecture reflects centuries of trade with India, Persia, and Africa. The women here have their own distinct style, influenced by proximity to the Gulf, mixing Iraqi tradition with hints of Emirati sophistication. Then you have Erbil in Kurdistan, possibly the oldest continuously inhabited city on Earth. The citadel at its center has been occupied for over 6,000 years without interruption. 6,000 years. Let that sink in. People have lived on that hill since before the pyramids, before Stonehenge, before almost anything else humans built. Today, Erbil is the most developed city in Iraq, with modern shopping malls, luxury hotels, and a thriving economy based on oil and trade. Kurdish women here often dress more liberally than in other parts of Iraq, reflecting the region's distinct culture and relative stability. The truth about Iraqi women and beauty standards. Let us address what brought many of you here. Iraqi women are famous across the Middle East for their beauty, and that reputation is absolutely earned. But understanding why requires understanding Iraqi culture itself. Beauty here is not accidental. It is cultivated, celebrated, and taken very seriously. Iraqi women spend considerable time and resources on their appearance, but not in the Western Instagram filter way. This is about elegance, about presenting yourself with dignity and style. The genetic diversity of Iraq creates stunning variety in features. You see women with pale skin and colored eyes, descendants of ancient Mesopotamian peoples mixed with waves of Greek, Persian, and Turkish influence. You see women with classic Arab features, dark eyes that could launch ships, and bone structure that photographers dream about. The Kurdish population in the north often has distinct features, sometimes with lighter coloring that shows their mountain origins. But physical beauty is only part of the equation. Iraqi women carry themselves differently. There is a warmth, a directness, a lack of pretense that makes interaction genuine. Despite conservative dress codes in many areas, there is no shortage of personality, humor, or intelligence. Education levels among Iraqi women are high, especially in cities. Many speak multiple languages. They navigate complex family dynamics, social expectations, and the challenge of living in a recovering nation with remarkable grace. Marriage and family remain central to Iraqi culture, and women are often the glue holding extended families together. Hospitality is a sacred duty here, and Iraqi women take pride in welcoming guests with legendary generosity. Expect to be fed until you physically cannot eat another bite. Expect tea served in delicate glasses with heaps of sugar. Expect to be treated like royalty even if the family has little. So is this really the most sinful country in 2025? That provocative title demands an answer, and the truth is deliciously complicated. Iraq is an Islamic country, predominantly Shia Muslim in the south and center, Sunni Muslim in the west, and a mix of Muslim, Christian, and other religions in Kurdistan. Religious observance varies wildly by region and individual. In conservative areas, especially holy cities like Najaf and Karbala, religion dominates daily life. Women cover completely, alcohol is forbidden, and calls to prayer structure the day. But in Baghdad, Basra, and especially Erbil, a different Iraq emerges after dark. Underground nightlife exists, discreet but real. Alcohol flows freely in Christian neighborhoods and Kurdistan. Private parties happen behind closed doors where young Iraqis dance to Arabic pop music and Western hip-hop, where couples meet and flirt away from family eyes. This is not the Iraq of news reports. This is the Iraq of contradictions, where ancient tradition meets modern desire for freedom and fun. Young Iraqis are hungry for normalcy after decades of war and instability. They want what young people everywhere want: romance, entertainment, opportunity, connection. The internet has opened windows to the outside world, and Iraqi youth are not content to be defined by their parents' conflicts. Social media influencers from Baghdad rival those from Dubai or Beirut in followers and sophistication. Instagram feeds from Iraq show fashion, travel, food, and yes, beautiful women confidently presenting themselves to the world. The tension between conservative religious values and this emerging modern culture creates fascinating dynamics. It is not sinful in the Western sense, but it is a country in transition, caught between honoring tradition and embracing change. Young women push boundaries by pursuing education and careers their grandmothers never imagined. Young men question rigid social structures while still respecting their roots. This cultural evolution happening in real time is what makes Iraq so compelling right now. Food that will haunt your dreams. Iraqi cuisine deserves its own documentary. This is food that developed over millennia, influenced by Persian sophistication, Turkish hardiness, and Arab spices. Every meal is an event. Every dish tells a story. Maskouf is the national obsession, carp butterflied and grilled over an open flame until the skin is crispy and the flesh falls apart. Served with fresh flatbread, pickles, and tomatoes, this simple dish becomes transcendent. Dolma are grape leaves stuffed with rice, vegetables, and sometimes meat, cooked with enough oil and lemon to make your eyes roll back. Iraqis make them differently than anywhere else, with a perfect balance of spice and sour. Kuba comes in dozens of varieties, essentially bulgur shells stuffed with spiced meat, shaped into balls or torpedoes, then either boiled or fried. Each region has its own Kuba specialty. Tepsi Baytinogen layers eggplant, tomatoes, peppers, and meatballs in a dish that emerges from the oven bubbling and aromatic. Tsuzi is whole roasted lamb over rice with almonds and raisins, reserved for special occasions when families want to show off. The lamb is so tender it falls off the bone. The rice soaks up all those incredible juices, and the combination of savory and sweet hits every taste receptor at once. Tea culture in Iraq is sacred. Strong black tea served in small hourglass glasses, sweetened until the spoon stands up, drunk continuously throughout the day. Men gather in tea houses to smoke, talk politics, play dominoes, and watch the world go by. Women serve tea to guests as a sign of welcome, and refusing it would be a serious insult. Markets and mosques that define the soul. Iraqi markets are sensory overload in the best way. The souks of Baghdad and Basra overflow with copper cookware, colorful fabrics, hand-woven carpets, antiques, and spices piled in pyramids of red, yellow, and brown. Vendors call out prices. Haggling is expected, and nothing has a fixed cost. You bargain for everything, and the negotiation process is part of the experience. Elderly men sit in tiny shops unchanged for generations, selling the same items their grandfathers sold, surrounded by inventory that climbs to the ceiling. The Mutanabi Street Book Market in Baghdad comes alive every Friday when intellectuals, students, and book lovers crowd the narrow street browsing everything from ancient poetry to modern novels to pirated textbooks. This street survived car bombs and still thrives, a testament to Iraqi resilience and love of learning. Coffee shops line the street where writers and artists gather to debate and dream. Mosques dominate Iraqi architecture and daily life. The Al-Askari shrine in Samarra with its distinctive golden dome is one of the holiest sites in Shia Islam. The Imam Ali Mosque in Najaf, with its stunning blue tiles and golden minarets, draws millions of pilgrims annually. The mosque in Kufa, where Imam Ali was killed, remains one of the most important sites in Islamic history. These are not just buildings. These are living monuments where faith, politics, art, and community intersect. Even if you are not Muslim, The call to prayer 5 times daily creates a rhythm to life in Iraq that is both foreign and strangely comforting. Cities pause. People duck into mosques. For those few minutes, the chaos stops and something larger takes over. There is beauty in that communal ritual, in the way an entire nation stops to acknowledge something beyond themselves. Arts and traditions stretching back millennia. Iraq gave the world writing, so it should surprise nobody that poetry remains central to Iraqi culture. Poets are celebrities here. Families memorize verses passed down through generations. Poetry evenings draw crowds who appreciate wordplay and metaphor with an intensity rarely seen in the West. Modern Iraqi poets write about love, loss, war, hope, and resilience with language that hits hard whether you understand Arabic or read translations. Music flows through Iraqi streets, a mix of traditional makam singing with its complex melodic modes and modern pop that dominates radio stations. The oud, a pear-shaped string instrument, features prominently in Iraqi music, along with hand drums and the haunting sound of the ney flute. Wedding celebrations last days and feature live bands playing until dawn while guests dance traditional line dances that everyone knows by heart. Iraqi art has experienced a renaissance after years of conflict. Baghdad is home to galleries showcasing contemporary Iraqi artists processing their country's trauma through powerful visual work. Calligraphy remains a respected art form, with masters creating stunning pieces using Arabic script as both text and image. Street art is emerging in Baghdad and Erbil, with murals commenting on politics, culture, and hope for the future. Traditional crafts survive in Iraq despite everything. Carpet weavers in Kurdistan create intricate designs passed down through families. Copper workers in Baghdad's old quarters hammer sheets of metal into trays, pots, and decorative pieces using techniques unchanged for centuries. Pottery workshops produce distinctive blue-glazed ceramics that have marked Iraqi craft for generations. Coffee culture and social life. Iraqi social life revolves around sitting and talking for hours over tiny cups of thick Arabic coffee or glasses of sweet tea. Coffee shops range from traditional places where old men play backgammon to modern cafes where young people sip lattes and use Wi-Fi. The point is never just the beverage. The point is connection, conversation, being seen and seeing others. Families remain the core of Iraqi social structure, with extended clans staying close and involved in each other's lives to a degree that might feel invasive to Western individualists. Uncles, aunts, cousins, and distant relatives all have opinions about your life choices, and those opinions matter. This tight family structure provides support and identity but also obligation and expectation. Gender dynamics are complex and region-dependent. In some areas, men and women socialize separately, with women gathering in private homes while men meet in cafes. In more liberal areas, mixed-gender groups of friends meet in public, carefully navigating social norms around appropriate behavior. Young couples dating must be discreet, meeting in public places under the guise of running errands or studying. The concept of honor remains powerful in Iraqi culture. Family reputation matters enormously, and individual behavior reflects on the entire clan. This creates social pressure that shapes choices around education, career, marriage, and behavior. Understanding this honor culture is essential to understanding Iraq, even as younger generations begin questioning its constraints. Kurdistan's special identity. The Kurdistan region of Iraq functions almost as a separate country, with its own government, military, and cultural identity. Kurds are ethnically distinct from Arabs, with their own language, traditions, and history of struggling for independence. The mountains that define Kurdistan geography also define Kurdish identity. Proud, independent, resilient. Kurdish culture differs noticeably from Arab Iraqi culture. Traditional clothing includes colorful woven belts and baggy pants for men, and vibrant dresses for women. Kurdish music has its own distinct sound, with the dal drum driving celebratory dances where lines of people lock fingers and move together in intricate patterns. Kurdish food includes more dairy and mountain herbs than southern Iraqi cuisine. Kurdistan has been more stable than the rest of Iraq for years, allowing development and tourism to flourish in ways impossible elsewhere. The result is a region that feels distinctly different, more orderly and prosperous, with better infrastructure and more openness to foreigners. Kurdish pride is fierce, with most Kurds seeing themselves as Kurdish first and Iraqi second, if at all. Why Iraq deserves your attention right now. Everything you thought you knew about Iraq was wrong. This is not just a war zone. This is a civilization recovering, rebuilding, and reclaiming its place in the world. The narrative about Iraq has been written by outsiders for too long, focusing on conflict and extremism while ignoring the rich culture, stunning landscapes, and resilient people who define the real Iraq. Visit Iraq now and you are witnessing history in the making. You are seeing a country transition from decades of war to an uncertain but hopeful peace. You are meeting people determined to show the world their true identity beyond news headlines. You are tasting food, hearing music, and seeing art that developed over 5,000 years. You are standing where Abraham walked, where Alexander conquered, where the Garden of Eden might have been. Iraqi hospitality will overwhelm you. Strangers will invite you to tea. Families will insist you stay for dinner. People will go absurdly out of their way to help you, asking nothing in return except that you remember Iraq for its kindness, not its conflicts. The generosity here is not performative. It is genuine, rooted in ancient traditions of hospitality that consider guests a blessing. The women of Iraq are indeed as beautiful as their reputation suggests, but reducing them to appearance alone misses everything important. They are educated, ambitious, complicated, and navigating impossible pressures with dignity. They are preserving traditions while pushing for progress. They are the real story of modern Iraq. Ancient and modern, traditional and evolving, conservative and quietly rebellious. Iraq is called the cradle of civilization for good reason, and that cradle is rocking again with new energy. This is your chance to see it before mass tourism discovers what travelers are beginning to realize. Iraq is open, accessible, and ready to challenge every assumption you carried through security. Where are you watching this from right now? What surprised you most about what you just learned about Iraq? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts about this incredible country. And hey, if you found this video valuable, do not forget to click that hype button right next to the like button. It is completely free and it helps us tremendously to keep creating content like this. We genuinely appreciate every single one of you who takes that extra second to support the channel. Now click on one of the videos appearing on your screen right now to discover even more incredible curiosities about fascinating destinations around the world. Trust us, you will not regret it.